Hello guys, it's Ryan Ho back with another video. Today I want to talk about the Moondrop Aria Snow Edition, or I guess they call it SE, which is kind of funny because SE sometimes stands for Special Edition. But I think this is probably one of the best IEMs at this price point, and it's an upgrade over the prior Moondrop Aria. However, there's some little different tuning differences, but overall it's a new upgrade. It comes with more features and more items and better quality overall. And I think it's really a fantastic IEM at the price. It might actually be the best at the price in my opinion. And we'll do some comparisons of the Snow Edition to the original edition. And then we also have the Dunu Titan S, which also comes in at the price of $80, just like all three of these. So that will be an interesting comparison. And then I have the Kato right here where I might just do a small, comparison at the end for you guys. But I'm gonna have a full review of the Kato soon as well, which is basically the bigger brother of the Snow that comes in at like, I think $180, so like double the price basically. So yeah. And then also another thing I want to talk about is the gaming performance of the Moondrop Snow Edition, because I do think it's, pretty good for gaming, and we'll talk about why that is. Because I've been seeing a lot of people asking me in my comments like, what's a good gaming IEM? So I want to start talking about gaming and imaging a little bit more in my reviews as well. Let's talk about the sound, the build, and everything, and do all the comparisons. So as always, if you guys like and subscribe down below, it really helped me grow. I'm trying to get to, I guess, 10,000 this year or higher. That's maybe optimistic thinking, but one can try, right? And anyways, let's begin. So first things first, I want to thank Earbuds Audio for sending out the Snow for me to review, and as well as sending out the normal Aria and also the Kato, so that these reviews and comparisons are possible. Now, in my opinion, the reason why you should buy from Earbuds is simply because they have a 2-year warranty. A lot of other retailers only have a 1-year warranty. So having 2 years definitely covers you for an extra year. All right, so let's unbox the Moondrop Snow. And yeah, let's get inside to see the unboxing experience. So immediately we're kind of met with a very kind of bright look. In fact, I need to turn down the brightness a little bit so you guys can see the details better, because it's all white. So this is the Aria Snow Edition, and it's nice glossy. I really like the way they package the stuff and the unboxing experience in general. It's pretty cool. We kind of open it up. It's very reminiscent of the Aria in the same kind of vein of having kind of these little arts down here. So you get this nice snowflake, which I think is pretty rad. And then of course you even got the snowflake on the middle section, and then we have the kind of earbuds as well. So in general, the unboxing experience is pretty similar with just different accessories and colors of, well, Snow White, right? Now we get this out, we should have some kind of different ear pads, or sorry, tips. So the tips are actually still black. And then we have a white cable, so at least that matches aesthetic, which their original Aria is black. And we got the white cable here. And then we can take a look at the rest. So we can pop the kind of IEMs out, so you kind of see the snow, the way it looks. It's pretty cool. Then we go under accessories. We got the warranty card. Down here we should have the extra accessories as always. Here we actually get white tips, which is what I thought it would come with, but we have black and white tips. So we get double the tips, which is kind of nice, which I don't think I saw with the other ones. So that matched aesthetics. There's even more tips. So I don't even know if this is because I have a review unit or they come with all these tips, but that's a lot of tips is all I can say. All right, so let's talk about the Snow Edition. So the Snow Edition has this nice kind of metallic, I guess, face with a snowflake on it, which is really, really cool. I like the aesthetic. I like how it's metallic, which is kind of an improvement over the prior, which was matte. Now I think that's a preference thing, but I like shiny things, I guess. It makes it look a little bit more premium. The cable's nice as well. It's braided in this kind of clear casing, which is nice. And then it terminates into a 3.5 millimeter. So this cable is also a improvement over the prior as well. And then lastly, these tips are the new spring tips. I find these tips to be honestly really, really comfortable. They're my favorite tips I've ever used. They fit really well in my ear because they're soft and they mold well and they feel very comfortable. And I think I like the size and the fit of it too. I think some nozzles are way too wide. This one is more, I guess, a little bit narrower, but it just fits really well and it conforms really well because it's soft. And then I guess it has kind of the ribbedness that's supposed to help with kind of the treble tuning as well. So overall, I just find that these tips are one of the best I've ever used, and they come with it in the package as well as the original kind of black tips you get with the original Aria. For example, would be these black tips. So it still comes with those standard, but these new ones are so much better, and you basically get double tips for the same price as well. So really the accessories and kind of the quality that you get from the new Snow Edition is a lot better in my opinion, honestly. And of course, I like this kind of white on white and silver type of aesthetic. I think it really works. So if you look at the quality of the Snow Edition and the original Aria, you kind of see you can see they're similar, but then the cables are different. Like I said, the tips are also different, but the cable especially is very like the most noticeable impact in my opinion. Like if you just take a look at the cable, I mean, this one is like some type of cloth braid, which is like, just doesn't give it a nice premium feel versus this one is much better. And I think this kind of the finish is better. And like I said, the tip is better. So overall, it's just kind of more for the same amount of money in my opinion. So I did my sound testing with the iFi Go Bar. The Go Bar is about $330. I'm going to do a full review on this, but it sounds really, really good. It sounds better than the Apple dongle. But of course, it's because it's pricier, it's built with better components. And yeah, it's really lightweight and you can take it on the go. So it's kind of a perfect pairing for IEMs in general, but yeah. All right, so let's talk about sound. So we have the Moondrop Aria Snow Edition. I think this has a very kind of fun sound with, really good detail, very natural sound, and it does this all without being like sibilant or annoying in the treble. The treble is very kind of well extended, like you can hear everything very detailed, but it doesn't have that kind of like silvery added shininess that, goes with like overemphasizing the treble, which some people take it as like a lot of detail, but I find it generally annoying. This does not have that characteristic at all, making this pretty much an easy recommendation for most people. I think like if I don't know what you like to listen to, I think most likely if you listen to this, you'll really like it. And that to me makes it a safe bet to recommend for anybody, right? Now, when it comes to kind of the bass, I do think that the bass of this is a little bit more emphasized than like flat. Flat to me is like really boring. This is not boring. This has a nice bass bump that I think will satisfy a lot of people. Now, I do think the sub bass performance of this isn't as emphasized, I guess, as I would like. So I think it kind of, the bass is kind of more emphasized over the sub bass. It's just a little bit lower. It's not a big deal, but something worth pointing out because the original Moondrop Aria, I think, is a little bit more even between the bass and the sub bass, and it has just more bass in general in the Aria than the Snow Edition, but that does not make the Snow Edition bass light in any means. I think the bass is still very satisfying. It's just that if you really, really like bass, I think the original Aria is probably the better bet because it does sound like it has more quantity and quality of bass in my opinion, and it beats the Snow Edition in that area. However, for everything else, when it comes to kind of the mid-range and the treble area, the Snow noticeably is more detailed than the original Aria because it really is a newer driver that it has, and that newer driver is more detailed, and you can hear it in just how kind of, I guess, how fast and how detailed everything sounds compared to the original Aria. The original Aria was just a little bit sluggish in my opinion and less defined, and the Snow really does fix that aspect of the original Aria in my opinion. So when it comes to the mid-range, we talk about like the male vocalist and the instruments. This does noticeably really well. Everything sounds really natural. The male vocalists don't sound like they're too far away. They're very present, they're very clear, and everything sounds kind of nice, honestly. Like the tuning overall is very good. And then we get to kind of like the treble and kind of the higher, frequencies for female vocalists. They sound really, really well as well. And they sound very clear, very forward without that added brightness. Like I said, I hate really anything that sounds like just overly emphasized in the treble region especially. And it doesn't have any of that. And so really this makes it the ideal tuning for most things, in my opinion. Like, whether you're playing games or listening to music, it makes it sound really natural. And that's something Moondrop does really well, is really good tuning, and I think it really shows in this product. The only thing, like I said, is that I do think the bass is better on the original Aria, but everything else, I think this is honestly better. And if we talk about other aspects, like if I'm doing the comparison of like, would I rather buy this Snow Edition or the original Aria, I think it's pretty easy now. Like, the Snow Edition is more detailed, and I think like if you're playing games and stuff like that, that extra detail really helps kind of pick out like the footsteps and where people are coming from. So if you're gaming, I would definitely say Snow Edition. If you want to listen to music and you're not listening to more bass focused music, the Snow Edition is also a better choice. The only area the Aria beats it, like I said, is the bass. But there's other things that we have to talk about that, have nothing to do with the sound. It's actually kind of the quality that you get. I think that the kind of $80 price point must be getting a lot more competitive for Moondrop to kind of increase what they provide at the same price. If you look at the cable in general, and then you look at kind of the ear tips as well, the ear tips are better. They have the new spring tips, and it comes with the original tips, so you get double the amount of tips than the original Aria. And then when it comes to the cable in the original Aria is noticeably lacking. It feels very cheap, and the aesthetic is also better. And then on the outside, even the shell of the Aria was kind of matte, versus the new one is kind of finished in a more like silvery finish, which gives it a little bit better kind of shine and a kind of more, I guess, premium feel to it as well. So overall, I feel like the kind of quality game is really increased a lot on the Snow Edition, making kind of the comparison between these two not only about sound, but kind of just the features and what you get for it. And in that respect, there's kind of a no-brainer that the Snow Edition is way better, in my opinion. And so I can't really recommend the original Aria when you get so much more in the Snow Edition, if that makes any sense. So let's talk about gaming performance. So the first thing I noticed was, because of the sound is more kind of treble focused than the original Aria, it's easier to tell apart like footsteps and everything else around from like the explosions and everything, which is good. The second thing I noticed was that when it comes to kind of like detecting your enemies and their footsteps, I was playing Valorant, and in Deathmatch, that's kind of how I tested it. Basically, when the enemy was coming from behind the wall and about to come out, I basically kind of, when I heard them come out, it was about close to the center. So I would say the imaging is really good. Like, basically you can tell where the enemy is. Obviously, I think it was only off by like, if the enemy was like here on my screen, I heard him like maybe like right there. So just a little off placement from the middle, but basically in the middle. So really, for playing games, this should be very easy and really good. And yeah. So let's talk about the Moondrop Snow Edition compared to the Kato. The Kato is the next logical step from the Snow. If you have more cash to drop on it, I think the Kato really does everything better than the Snow. I think it sounds more detailed. The tuning is better. It kind of takes the best aspects of the Aria and the Snow and combines them and makes it sound even better, in my opinion. So the Kato really is just a straight upgrade, in my opinion. So if price isn't a factor and you don't really care, I think the Kato is definitely what I would choose over these two. Now let's do the comparison of the Snow versus the Dunu Titan S. So these two tunings are a little different. The Dunu Titan S really has a pretty flat kind of sounding bass. It's only emphasized a little bit, and then it's more brighter focus, so there's more treble emphasis, and it does get, in my opinion, a little bit kind of a little irritating, in my opinion. I can't really listen to this for that long, versus I never get that with the Snow. And the Snow also has more bass, so it sounds just more fun in the low end, which I also enjoy of the Snow. And it does, in general, to me, actually sound more detailed as well. I think the driver is a little bit better. And then on top of all of that, you get these spring tips with this as well. And I really like the spring tips because they're just very, very comfortable, right? And the kind of the tips that come with the Dunu Titan never fit me quite right, like the spring tip does as well for the Snow Edition. I'd actually even put the snow tips onto the Titan S and it fit a lot better too. So in general, like the comfort's better, the tuning's better, the detail's better in my opinion. So honestly, I just think it's a better kind of Dunu Titan S. Like it's just a better buy at the same price. Like I wouldn't really choose the Titan S really over this unless you really don't like bass and you kind of like that bright type of tuning. Then I do think the Dunu Titan S is better in those scenarios if you like that tuning better. Anyway, so in conclusion, I do think the Moondrop Snow Edition is very, very, very amazing for its price. I think for $80, it sounds super, super detailed and it comes with really nice accessories. I like the spring tips a lot. Like this is the first time I've like kind of used these ever and like I just can't stop thinking about them. Like I really, really just want these tips on all of my IEMs, and that's probably what I'm probably going to use going forward because it's really that comfortable, at least for me it is. And then of course the tuning of this is very easy to like. I think everybody will like this. I don't think anyone can really hate this tuning at all. So that makes it really kind of my standard for under $100. I think I'm going to put this at the top of my list. I'm going to recommend this to basically everyone over even the original Moondrop Aria in my opinion now. So yeah, I think it really does set that standard for the price point and it's easy recommend. Now, if you guys like my videos, please like and subscribe. Helps my videos out. I'm going to do the Moondrop Kato review soon, so you always don't want to miss out on that and kind of hearing about how good the Kato is because it's really good. Spoiler alert. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.